So in this video we're going to focus on the product rule under differential calculus. So just from the name, the product rule, it refers to differentiating a function that has got product of two functions, just as we can see in this example. So when we're differentiating such a function, we use the product rule, okay, where v and u. Okay, so write the first part to be our v, and the second part to be our u. So according to the product rule, first of all, you're supposed to write your v. So I'll write our v. Our v is 2x squared plus 4. Then this should be multiplied with the differential of the other part, in this case being 4x plus 2. So the dx of 4x plus 2 is going to be what? It's going to be a 4. Because we know this part, when differentiate, this will be a 4. Then the differential of any constant is just a 0, so we don't write it. So equally, when you move to the second part, you're supposed to multiply the u, which is 4x plus 2. Okay, so this will be in brackets. Equally, this should be in brackets because you don't want to just show that it's a product of 4 and 4, but it's a product of a function with 4. So on the other part, again, you're supposed to do what? So we've written u, then you're supposed to multiply it with a differential of the first part now this time around. So when you differentiate the first part, it will be a product of 4 by 2, which is going to give us what? 8. So it's going to be 8x to the third power. 8x to the third power. So 4 is just a constant, so it will be eliminated. So from this stage, what are we going to have? We're going to have 4 by 2x squared is going to be 8x squared, and 4 by 4 is going to be 16. Alright, so all we are doing is just multiplying what is inside the brackets, being multiplied by what? By the 4. So from there, on the other side again, if you were to distribute this one, it will be 8 by 4, which is going to give us what? A 32. So it will be 32 x raised to the power 4, because there is an x on the 4, then there are 3 on the 8. So it will be 32x to the power 4 plus 2 by 8 is going to be 16x to the third power. So just as you can see, we don't have any right terms, so therefore we can end here. So this is our answer. So of course this was not supposed to be y, this is dy dx. Okay, so it's dy dx, dy dx. So let's have a second example. So a second example focuses on the product of 4x squared by the trigonometric function, that is sine 2x. So of course the differential of such a function is going to be, first of all, write your v. So in this case our v is going to be 4x squared. Then it should be multiplied by the differential of what? The other part. So this part is supposed to be differentiated using the chain rule. So in case you don't know what the chain rule is all about, you should check out the other video that I made on the chain rule. So according to the chain rule, we're supposed to differentiate that function. So cosine 2x dot 2. So that's what you get after you differentiate that using the chain rule. Then of course you're supposed to add again. This time around we're going to start with our u, which we're calling sine 2x. Then this time around it should be multiplied with what? The product or the differential of the first part. So the differential of 4x squared is going to be what? 8x. Okay. So when we simplify this, so the first part, 4x squared by what's inside the brackets, so we're going to multiply it with a 2. It becomes 8x what? Squared cos 2x plus, so 8x by being multiplied by The other part is going to be what? So it's going to be 8x then sine 2x. Sine 2x. Okay. So let me just write this properly. So it is going to be 8x sine 2x. Okay, so that's another example. That's all about the product rule. Let's have a last example, which is having a product of two trigonometric functions, sine x and cosine x. So just like I mentioned from the onset, but the product rule is very simple, as in you're just supposed to first overwrite the first part, then multiply it by the differential of the other part. So in this case, I'll just write sine x, then this sine x will be multiplied by what? By the differential of the other part. So the other part is the differential of cosine of x is what? Negative sine x. Okay, so make sure you revise the differential of a trigonometric function. So again, you add, this time around you start with the second part. So the second part is what? Cosine of x. Then it should be multiplied by the differential of the first part. So the differential of sine of x is what? Is cosine x. So cosine x by cosine x is going to be what? Cosine squared x. So before I even write that, let me just show it. So we are multiplying by the differential of sine of x, which will just be cosine x. Okay, I've written it down because there's not enough space. So sine x times negative sine x is going to be negative sine squared x. So negative sine squared x plus cosine squared x. Okay, so that's it. That's it about the product rule. So just know that write the first part, multiply it by the differential of the second part, then add the second part multiplied by the differential of the first part. When you are done with